It's happening. It's happening. It has started. And it's building momentum. And once it gets going, it's not easily stopped. The fire begins as a light flicker and begins to roar. They arrive. They get to Emmaus, 7 miles from Jerusalem, on their walk. I don't know if they're tired. I don't know if they recognize. They probably was preoccupied so much. And then they're talking to Jesus. They lost track of time. And Jesus, as they arrive to Emmaus, Jesus acts as though he's going further. Again, there's subtleties in the Scripture. I'm telling the story. Don't miss that Jesus acts as he's going further. God sometimes appears to keep moving in your life to see if you want him to stay. Will you let him go on, or will you say, Lord, stay? Will you ask him to stay? The 2 men on Cleopas and his buddy, they asked him to stay. Stay with us, they said. Stay with us. And somebody say turning point, because that's the turning point. That's when it shifts. Not when they understood everything, but when they invited him to stay. When they invited him to stay. Because that brings us to the table moment. The table moment is where they sit down and Jesus does something familiar. Remember, he takes the bread. He blesses it. He breaks it. And he gives it. He takes the bread. He blesses it. He breaks it, and he gives it to them. And suddenly, their eyes are opened. Their eyes are open. Now you got to ask, now why there? Why not on the road? Why not during the time that he was teaching from Scriptures? Why there? Because sometimes you hear him on the journey. You hear him on the journey, but you recognize him in the relationship. And I can imagine when he broke that bread, they saw something. Maybe the way his hands moved. Maybe they saw the scars or the memory of another table that he sat down with. Maybe even the scars in his hand. And it all clicked. It said click, 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 click. And then when it clicked, just like Jesus, he vanishes. I'm just telling the story. This is what the Scripture says. Right when they recognize him, Jesus disappears. Because now they don't need sight. Huh? No, they don't need sight. Why? Because they have revelation. They have revelation. And here's the turn. They look at each other and they say, did not our hearts burn within us? As they walk, remember their hearts burn. And immediately, just as suddenly as Jesus left, they get up get back on that same road, but they're going in a different direction. Instead of going home hopeless, they're heading back to Jerusalem. They walked away from disappointment. They walked away in disappointment, but now they ran back in purpose. So here's my final declaration on my story before I get into my scripture, my sermon. As we'll see, that's what encounter with Jesus does. It will change your understanding. It will ignite your heart, and it will reverse your direction. So I ask, as we get into this word today, as you walk around your road, as you carry your questions, as you process your pain, could it be that he's already there? Could it be that he's already there, walking beside you, listening to you, speaking to you, waiting for you to say, stay with me, Lord? Because when he stays, your eyes open, your heart burn, and your life will never, ever be the same. So we look at this thing. We dive into our word where we talked about Jesus. Let's pick it up and go dig a little deeper in that he joined them on the road they were already walking. And by the time the road ended, everything had changed. That shows us in our walk in disillusionment, when we're confused. Jesus joins us in our confusion. Notice that Luke tells the story that he only uses the name of one of the disciples, Cleopas, in verse 18. The second remains unnamed. I don't know why, but some scholars suggest this anonymity is intentional. It creates a reader identification function. Yeah, we know Cleopas was there. Who is that other person? That unnamed disciple is a narrative placeholder, a seat for every reader who's ever walked away from shattered hope. You are, beloved, the unnamed disciple on the Emmaus Road.